Welcome back in the pursuit of wealth, connoisseurs. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home from J Stocks, crypto assets, news and interviews. Today is Saturday. Happy Saturday, August 23rd. Hope you're having a great weekend. And in this video, we're going to do another rapid fire news update, this time for the period August 16th to the 22nd. And again, it's not a deep dive detail. It's just a high level overview in case you missed it. And a little bit later on the news this week. So to be expected, we knew that there probably wasn't going to be much happening. Congress is on August recess, and we were told that it was going to be a couple of weeks ago, before we get a determination with regards to rescheduling. So all but expected, we should start to see some major momentum over the next couple of weeks leading into Labor Day. As always, though, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And before you get started, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe. Tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos, and I also post these rapid fire news updates every Saturday. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter, and the handle for that is @GroupPow. And I really want to express my gratitude and appreciation for everybody. Almost 1,100 followers there, and just eclipsed 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I really do appreciate, I love each and every one of you who supported me along the way. It means the world to me, honestly. Overwhelming majority, and that's 80%. Of Canadian MJ now sourced from legal distributors in major turnarounds. So the legal market is really starting to basically just eliminate the illicit market, and this is what we wanted to see. It took a lot longer than initially anticipated, and this was one of the major issues when Canada, kind of rolled out federal legalization. They also did it in stages, right? So the first one was like the products were like the 1.0, and then there was the 2.0. Which later the vapes and the edibles came in year 2. So we're finally starting to see quality go up, prices come down. There was oversupply as well, but this is only going to get better. And just imagine if we see excise tax reform, that's only going to help the producers lower their price, but in turn it will also help retailers and the end consumer. So love to see it. Also, Cannabis USA appoints a new executive team to accelerate growth. The new leaders will be responsible for driving portfolio growth, operational improvements, and market expansion across the U.S. And this is ahead of the vote here in about a month in September. They're seeking shareholder approval to do a second reverse split. I mentioned this in a previous video, and I believe I mentioned it in last week's update. But this will be the company's second share consolidation and reverse split, if approved. And I also posted a video saying that, is it possible that Cannabis USA could sell off its Canadian assets? I think, there's a small chance, but the fact that they're looking to do a reverse split doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's making me think otherwise now, because if that was the case, why wouldn't they just delist from the NASDAQ and then operate in the US, similar to what SNDL mentioned that they were looking to do, right? If they were reviewing their listings, they thought they could fast track their entrance into the US market, right? If they remove their NASDAQ listing, that's the issue, right? You can't have plant touching activities in the US if you're listing on a US major exchange. So we'll see what happens here come that vote in September. I believe it's September 25th. Also, Rubicon Organics reported their Q2 2025 financial and operational results. Net revenue of $15 million, but a 24% increase compared to the same quarter in the prior year. Overall, not a bad report, and still a very small operator, but growing very, very fast, and a lot of that has to do with their international exports ramping up as well. So if you haven't seen that, you can check out the full report. Also, congressional staffers predict that MJ rescheduling, VA access this year, and safer banking this session. And that's exactly what I've been saying for the last few months, is I predict, we're going to get rescheduling to Schedule 3. We're probably going to get safer banking at some point between, the end of the year and early 2026. There's been reports that they want to get it done before the midterms, and then also uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, I think, for these US names is very likely as well. So we have major catalysts on the horizon, and I do think that crypto legislation is almost done. They did the Genius Act. Now it's basically anticipated that they're going to get the market structure, the Clarity Act, which basically defines what's a security, what's a commodity, etc., clear rules of the road. Once that's done, then I think they're going to be pivoting over to MJ policy. And I do think that they will follow through on those promises made, promises kept. And again, it doesn't matter if you're left or right or red, blue, whatever it is. The writing is on the wall when the last presidential ticket, one side wanted to legalize it federally at the recreational level, at the federal level, and the other side supported rescheduling, safer banking, states' rights, and Florida Amendment 3 legalization in the state. So again, we have all of what we need to know, in my opinion. And regardless of party, regardless of leaders, we're seeing a complete sea change, right? When that happens, when both presidential tickets are very, very pro, you know that the times there are changing, right? It's just a matter of when, not if. Poll finds that many workers are replacing alcohol with MJ beverages, with 1 in 3 younger adults choosing psychoactive component drinks. I did notice that my videos were starting to get flagged again if I say the word again, so I'm not sure what's going on. I said it like, I think 20 times in one video and it didn't get flagged, but now it seems to be flagging them again. So I don't know. The YouTube algorithm's strange that way. Also, Texas lawmakers refile legislation to, there's been a lot of kind of just back and forth here in Texas, but we see legislation now to legalize recreational MJ. Texas lawmakers have refiled a pair of bills that would legalize MJ for adults 21 and older, renewing efforts as part of a new special session. So they're trying to crack down on hemp. And I mean, ultimately, it just needs to follow Canada, right? We need to regulate it all as one plant because that's what it is. And that's how it's done here in Canada, right? It's all hemp, MJ, it's all the same, right? It's all regulated the same. So in my opinion, this is where we need to go, and we'll see what happens here as we continue to follow that story. Also, Leaf Brands reports second quarter 2025 financial results. Very small operator as well. Revenue was $8.7 million, up 10% from Q2 2024. And I know quite a few people in the Power Group private community are interested in Leaf Brands. So if you haven't seen their report, you can check it out. But like I said, very small operator. Also, TerraSend renews and replenishes their 10 million share repurchase program. The MJ Company's 12-month program provides it with flexibility to allocate capital opportunistically. Also, Cannara Biotech announces amendment and upsize of their BMO credit facility to support facility expansion at Valleyfield. And I do own Cannara in my portfolio, very bullish on them as well. Smaller operator, but they're growing leaps and bounds, and they're profitable as well. Also, Decibel delivers strong revenue, also profitability metrics, seeing a nice jump here in the quarter. But they had strong revenue growth and profitability in their second quarter. And I'm actually going to be interviewing the CEO for a second time, Benjamin Z, next week. So if anybody does have any questions, please get them to me ASAP. I also interviewed Hugo Au, CEO of Oxley, and we're just finalizing some details. And hopefully I should have that live at the latest by the end of next week. Also, South Park jokes that Trump could reschedule MJ if it's mutually beneficial for him and the industry. I don't know if you have to joke about that. I made a post on X, and again, I'm from Canada. I'm not favoring one political party. Personally, I just can't stand any politics at all, and life gets better. But if you think that any party, any leader, regardless of which party, left, right, again, red, blue, they're all the same. They will not, if they really cared about the people, right? There's polls now showing that over 90% of citizens in the US favor legalization in some form, whether it be medical, recreational, doesn't matter. 90% of your citizens in the US think it should be legal. So if they were really there for the people to serve the people, it would have been legalized long ago. Anybody with half a brain knows it should be legal. And in my opinion, this is how it's always been. It's not just with this industry, it's with the crypto industry, it's with every industry, every new upcoming burgeoning industry that's disrupting the status quo. They always do this. They'll only move not a second sooner when they're damn well ready. Not because of the people, not because of polls or whatever. It's only when they want to move forward with it will they do it. And a lot of it has to do with big corporations and government overreach and just government control and the lobbyist groups, right? Big pharma, big alcohol, big tobacco, and really it's just government, like I said, overreach and capture. So regulatory capture. So I think that it will happen. I mean, like I said, the writing's on the wall. What more do we need for signals and clues? I'm very confident that we're going to see a complete change in tune here like I said, more than likely once crypto legislation is passed. Also, June MJ sales in Canada has passed $480 million Canadian, bringing year-to-date sales above Canadian 2.7 billion. So big business here, and really contributing to Canada's GDP. And like I said, 80% of Canadians now sourcing it from legal sources. Also, you get all these numbskulls who are saying that MJ is going to create zombies on the streets and whatnot. Jeff Bridges was high on MJ when filming Oscar-nominated performance as president of the U.S., movie director says. So, again, you've got people of all walks of life, and you've got an Oscar-nominated performance, and it was determined that he was on MJ. So, like, it's not creating zombies in the streets, folks. Just come to Canada. It's been legal for almost 7 years, and I see not but one zombie in the street, right? It's pretty ridiculous, some of the arguments that people present. And if you follow the science, if you follow the data, actually legalization shows things get better. And that's because you're not, lacing it with all kinds of crap and cross-contamination of other substances and fentanyl and pesticides and all this crap, right? I mean, like I said, anybody with a brain, a 5-year-old, maybe even a 2-year-old, could figure out that it's probably... It probably should be legalized, right? And it's probably only going to be better for humanity if we regulate it and make it safe and tested and give access to regulated MJ. So it's just ridiculous, some of these arguments that you see, but it's all just them spewing nonsense, right? They're like Chamath Palihapitiya. He was talking about how MJ is the most insidious of all drugs, and then a couple weeks later he released like his own alcohol brand or something like that. And I was like, make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense. And then a couple weeks later he posted about alcohol, and I'm like, it makes sense now. One's poison and one's medicine, by the way. Someone give him a reality check. Like, knock, knock, is anybody home? I don't know. That guy, just complete disingenuous. I just can't even stand it. It makes my blood boil. Also, Florida MJ legalization initiative is poised to make the November 2026 ballot. A federal court ruling has removed what was considered the biggest obstacle to Florida's MJ legalization initiative, all but ensuring its place on the November 2026 ballot. So I don't think anybody really didn't see this coming. I mean, it was 3% away from actually being enacted and legalized in the 2025 ballot. So the fact that it makes the 2026 ballot is pretty obvious, I would think. Like I said, it was 3% away from being legalized. It should definitely be on the ballot in 2026. All right, like I said, a very short week, not a whole lot of news. And like I said, just kind of the calm before the storm, before we really start to see, I think, what we're going to see. I think we're going to see an absolute explosion of these stock prices. More than likely going to be on a rescheduling to Schedule 3. And just the whole market, right? Everything's frothy at the moment. We have potential interest rate cuts coming in the U.S. The first time in many years. And that's going to bring down the cost of borrowing. It's going to bring on risk on appetite. And we've been seeing medium caps and small cap names really start to accelerate in that market breadth and expansion and opening up, which will only be good for these high risk assets, including MJ. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comments section below. We'll continue the conversation there. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and have a great weekend.